All right. All right. Hello, everyone. Lee Moore here, Senior Product Designer for the Optimize Group. And so for today's showcase, I thought it'd be interesting to highlight something newer that the Optimize Group is working on, which are value streams dashboard. And I'm just showing right now the marketing page that we currently have for this. And it's currently in private beta. And so the initial use case is focused on providing the ability to compare software delivery metrics. So with these comparisons, these comparisons can help decision makers understand whether projects and groups are improving or not. So most likely, or most of you are likely familiar with this view here, found under Analyze Value Stream Analytics, but you might not be familiar with this link here. Let's see. But so this link here is like a temporary link for now, and it's only, again, if you're part of the private beta, you'll see this, and it's just a more of like a placeholder for now. It's just a quick way to access the dashboard. So let me dive in there. And so this is what we have implemented today. And the idea is here to first be able to get a high level view of what's happening. And then if any anomalies are spotted, one can drill down, understand what's happening, and ideally take action. So for example, looking at deploys here, you might right away question, okay, why are deploys down 90%? So you could drill down and hopefully quickly, understand, what's going on here and be able to take action. So back to what we have currently, this will link off to different areas under Analyze to the specific section that you might want to analyze. So again, so this is what we have today. And here is like the vision for where the dashboard is heading. And so since every organization and even different teams measure different metrics, we need to provide a way to pick and choose what each panel is displaying here. And so like I think it was around 3 months ago, the dashboard working group completed their readout and provided some guidelines here in pajamas of what a dashboard is and isn't, along with some thinking around like the content and configuration for the individual panels. So I think they did a great job on this, and these guidelines will be super helpful for helping me with some of the new issues that I'm working through. So this is, for example, this issue here, where each panel can be filtered by a different set of labels. So in this case, you may want to compare your priority 1 items across your different services. So seeing, how priority 1 items are working between, back end or front end, and chat services and API services. So some of the challenges here will still be defining the patterns for how like the filtering looks for maybe, if you have more than 5 labels here, like how will that look in a small kind of panel space here, or whether the filters right now are read-only, which they are in this case. And read-only, I mean by meaning that right now the dashboard in the first stage is configured via a YAML file, so there's no way to actually change these filters on the front end. And maybe later on we'll want to introduce that. So how will that look when we have that ability? And so currently, something similar is when we filter our issue list, we have the kind of larger filter bar. So how does kind of that play into these like smaller panels? And so that's some of the challenges. And then also later on, thinking through how filtering date ranges will work here. And then also how filtering the different namespaces will work. For example, would you want to see a group in one panel and then a specific project in another panel? Are they filtered by different date ranges, or is there a global date range filter? So it's a lot of different things to kind of still think through here and work through. But anyways, I'm looking forward to working with Kevin and the products analytics group on like defining a lot of these dashboard panel patterns even further. And then we'll contribute them back to Pajama's guidelines here. So that's really kind of all I have for at this moment. But anyways, thanks for listening, and I guess I'll take any questions if you have any. I'll stop sharing.
I'll ask a question if no one has. So it's a beta, and I was curious if you could share anything about how it's going, and also for beta customers, like what are the like things they're getting value out of?
I don't have all the answers to that. Great question, Jackie. I don't know. I know we have a feedback issue that I've looked through where we've been collecting a lot of the feedback right now, and kind of need to circle back on all that. I know a lot of the different, I think it's one of the powerful things that, since we are tracking the whole entire DevOps lifecycle, we do have a lot of valuable metrics that we could surface. So I think we're finally starting to surface all these in different ways, and I think it's definitely resonating with a lot of our users. And I think it's just figuring out, since there's also so much to show, like what makes sense to show, and kind of when, and how do we really find the signal within all the noise, I think is the challenge here. But yeah, again, kind of back to your question, I have to still kind of look through a lot of the research, and I'm still kind of fairly new to the Optimize group. Yeah, I still need to do some more digging and understanding of what's of all the research that's happening.
Yeah, that's fair. It's just been a couple like milestones too. I think what you said is finding the signal and the noise is the important thing. Like we do have all this data. There's all of these things we can do. So we need to figure out what we should do.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think so.
Did anyone else want to leave a comment or ask a question?
I noticed that the button to get into more detail about one of those items was in a popover, which seems a little bit more hidden. Have you gotten any feedback around that, or are there any plans to like make that more obvious? Like I would expect to, if you could go back to that. Yeah. So yes. I mean, the popover even looks like hidden. It's not like you're hovering over an icon or anything. Is there a reason that you can't just like click on deploys? Like why that's not a link? Like,
yeah, great question, Becca. So we have a whole epic right now that's open that just focuses on usability, and so that's one of the first issues actually I created when I started working on the Optimize group is doing exactly that, where this would be linkable and we wouldn't bury the drill down link within the popover. So I definitely noticed also it's sometimes hard to get to. Like for example, if I want to drill down, it kind of disappears fast. So there's definitely a lot of usability things that need to still be taken care of and that haven't been implemented yet. And that was actually, I think, also someone we got feedback on this during the beta testing. So that's also some feedback that we got in the issue.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
Okay.
good catch, yeah, on that one.
Cool. Cool. Thanks.
Mhm.
I have one. It's kind of a selfish question, because it's really for my purposes, not to give you feedback. So if the answer is I don't know, by all means. You mentioned on that other dashboard, kind of the vision one, that you could have, I think the next one, where it was several panels. Yeah, that
More up,
one.
kind of.
Yeah, like one of these might be a group, one of these might be a project, but one of these might be another project.
Mhm.
Is the available data from that, are these all sub-projects that we're talking about of that group? Like, where are these projects coming from? And then really the question I'm asking is, have you seen any feedback about wanting to pull in data from projects outside of that? And I think Jackie and Nick understand why I'm asking these questions. So like the source of the projects, has that come up as a like on these dashboards? Is the group view and then the sub projects of that, is that the right data set, or are people requesting to have maybe a project that's not a part of that group associated with these? If you don't know, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't know all the answers to that, but I see where you're going with that, Michael. I don't exactly know, but I could see that, since organizations work, very differently about how they track things. So sometimes, like, for example, we're showing this group right now and the different metrics within this group. But of course, there could be some projects that, aren't even development projects that are being kind of tracked here as well, which might throw off a lot of metrics. So I think definitely the need to kind of go pretty granular here will be needed. I still have to look at how that works with, I think where you're getting at is more like the access model kind of, right? It's where, what are all the projects that I may or may not have access to, and maybe how they show up here. So I still have to kind of understand a little bit more. There's a lot of different kind of use cases and maybe jobs to be done to understand kind of what, do I want to see a project and versus like, it's a couple subgroups here or how that works. So I don't know what you maybe want to look at here. Maybe you want to just look at a specific project and then see a bunch of different metrics just on that project. Or you might want to just compare, two front-end projects that are, in different maybe groups.
Gotcha.
So I don't exactly know, but I could, once I come across that issue somewhere about this, I'll make sure to mention you on that.
Okay, appreciate it. And again, sorry for it's a left field question for sure.
Yeah, anyone else?
I'm also looking at the graph on the Value Stream Analytics homepage. Do we need it to be shaded in because it seems like some information's getting lost?
Are you meaning this one
So
here?
if you go back, yeah, exactly. There's a line graph, yeah.
Yeah, so this was also recently updated, and I think we're still trying to get feedback on this new chart. So the idea was that it's supposed to be a stack chart.
Yeah.
And ideally this would be like a cumulative flow diagram, but since some of these stages can kind of overlap, it kind of gets messy.
Yeah.
And starts looking messy. It's not like a perfect like stacked kind of chart. So yeah, I agree that visually this is kind of hard to follow and understand what's going on with all the different shading, because once the chart's filled, there's like 3 to 4 different opacities that are overlapping now, which makes it look dark and kind of hard to see what's going on. So
Yeah,
think,
and I think we're still
mhm.
using e-charts for this, which I think is just not ideal UX. Like you can, I don't know if how many people know this, but you can actually like use that key at the bottom as filters. So you can turn those like on and off.
Mhm.
Yeah, anyways, just lots of room for improvement there. I've looked at this a little bit for the
Yeah.
security dashboard, and yeah, I mean, even if we could just remove the fill, I think that would be helpful because it kind of obscures some of those lines. But
Mhm.
glad
Yeah, I
to
agree. I've been working on an issue to kind of address this as well, like a follow-up issue to this release, but I still haven't gotten there yet. But yeah,
that's good.
I agree that this could use a lot, some more love
Yeah,
and some more thought. So
awesome.
yeah, anyone else?
I had a really quick question. Where will this value streams dashboard live in the end?
Oh, good question. I thought I wanted to bring that up and I forgot. So ideally there'll be like some kind of more top level nav item here. And I need to follow up on that, but I think product analytics is also kind of spearheading a lot of the implementation work in the beginning. So there might be a high level nav item here that just says dashboards, where you'll have like a list of your different dashboards, similarly to like how Sysons has their list of dashboards that you could kind of click through and have different track the different things that you want on your own dashboard. So that's the idea here. So this will go away.
That makes sense. I like that dashboard drop down idea. Could really clean up like navigation and stuff too.
Yeah, there's an issue I could link in the doc as well around that of where that's going to live.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good question.
Anyone else?
On that page where you can compare like across projects or groups, what's going on at the top there? Is that like, how do you
Top bar
choose?
or
So it says priority 1 metric comparison. Like, how do you filter which projects or groups? Is that the kebab? Or I'm confused about like what's behind all the kebabs on this page.
Yeah, so a lot of this is mostly just to get some feedback right now around the different data, not really around how you kind of get to this panel. So currently, like I mentioned, that this is like read only right now. So we don't have the ability at all to give the user an easy way to kind of create this or create like there's not like a kind of easy click through experience where I would go to and be like, okay, create a new dashboard, select my different parameters and hit save, and then I'll have a bunch of panels yet. So that's still in the works, and that's something that the product analytics team is working on. And so as the first iteration to be able to do this, we're providing like a way that you just set up like a YAML file. And in the YAML file, you define, okay, I have a panel, and then in the panel, I want, this group, and then these different metrics, and then filtered by this label. So we just need right now on the front end, some way to display like what's being filtered or what's coming out of that YAML file. So right now, this is just really kind of just a placeholder right now. This doesn't really work, if that makes sense. And then thinking about, the persona here, the persona is more of an executive that just wants to come to this dashboard. This dashboard is going to be set up for them already. They're not going to be the persona that's coming in here and configuring it themselves. So they're going to just come in here, maybe once a week or something to kind of look at, just track these metrics, see if there's any anomalies, and that's it. And they might not even kind of drill down. They might have someone else kind of come in here and then and say, can you please look into why, this metric is up or down, and then and go from there. So there's two different personas. So there's more of, where was I going with this? Yeah, so basically the first stage here is there's no way to configure this easily. So you'd have a different persona do the configuration and adding these panels and creating the dashboards versus a different persona that's consuming the data from it right now.
So is that information or that ability to change which groups or projects or whatever filters, like it says filtered by priority 1, those labels, is that intentionally hidden, or is that something that you could see introducing at some point onto this page so you can customize?
I think we do want to get to a point where anyone can, create their own dashboard and with an easy way, and then be able to filter this, throughout the panel. So that's definitely where we want to be at some point.
Okay.
Right now, it's not even really necessary for this, for a first persona to have that. So that's why it's only read only, and it's really just for reference to know, okay, this panel is filtering my priority 1, and it's showing the service API, items.
Got it.
So yeah, it's really kind of just read only, and that's actually okay at this stage. So yeah.
Sounds good. And then
my understanding.
share is share like download or export?
Share is just to get a link, a specific link to this view. So you might have, if you want to share just this, comparison, these 4-panel view, you could send someone a link, so it generates some kind of shareable link.
Interesting. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, good questions. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Any more questions? Feedback. Okay, that's all we have for today, everybody. Thank you.
Just wanted to add one thing. If anyone does see anything funny or funky or things that should be better, please ping me, and I'll make sure to try to address them and make sure that we have them. We're tracking it. So yeah, thanks everyone.
Thanks, Libor. All right, bye everybody.
All right, bye.
Thanks, Libor. Bye.